Hello and welcome to Front Page, where the AI race gets sharper, the legal risks get louder, and the battle for the internet's future moves into full swing. From platforms fighting for users to chip supply chains being rewritten to Indian IT facing United States lawsuits to big tech pushing back on India's spectrum plans. Tonight's stories all point to one thing: the stakes are rising. Here are the headlines. From Mark Benioff's viral "I'm not going back" moment to Sam Altman's leaked memo admitting Google has been doing excellent work, Gemini 3's TPU first architecture and deep research upgrades are triggering the first real user migration away from ChatGPT, marking the start of a full stack AI battle where Google controls the chips, the cloud, the model, and the distribution. OpenAI has partnered with Foxconn to co-design and manufacture next-generation AI data center hardware in the United States, a strategic move to reduce NVIDIA dependence, counter Google's TPU advantage, and rebuild a sovereign American AI supply chain. Two of India's biggest IT firms, TCS and Wipro, have been sued in the US for patent infringement within 45 days. Signaling rising IP rise as Indian IT pivots from services to software-heavy cloud, telecom, and AI platforms. And finally, Apple, Amazon, Meta, Intel, Cisco, and HP have jointly opposed Indian telecompanies' demand for 6 GHz mobile spectrum, urging TRAI to reserve the entire band for Wi-Fi, warning that the ecosystem isn't ready for mobile use and that premature allocation could derail India's long-term 6G roadmap. Tonight, the internet is fighting about one question: why is everyone suddenly ditching ChatGPT for Gemini? Well, let's start with the spark. Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff, one of the biggest power users of AI, dropped this bomb on X. Holy shit! I've used ChatGPT every day for 3 years, spent 2 hours on Gemini 3. I'm not going back. End quote. The reasoning, speed, images, video, everything sharper and faster. That tweet alone shook the AI world. Good evening and welcome to Front Page by AIM Network, India's video-first AI and tech newsroom, where we break the story first and explain why it matters. So if you find value in what we do, hit like, share this forward, and subscribe, because the future moves fast and you deserve to stay ahead of it. Now, back to what VC Jason Schumann added. Gemini is reviewing 450 plus sources for my research reports. ChatGPT might be, 10 to 15. The quality difference is night and day, end quote. Even Sam Altman, in a leaked internal memo, admitted that Google has been doing excellent work recently in every aspect, end quote. A rare acknowledgement that OpenAI is facing real competitive pressure. AI researcher Stefan Schubert pushed back. I don't find Gemini 3 as impressive as the rumors. It's good, but not knocking out ChatGPT, end quote. This is the classic internet moment. Two people use the same model, two different realities. So what's actually true? Let's find out. People are asking how Google jumped so far ahead. The answer is, surprisingly simple. Pre-training plus post-training. As shared by Vice President of Research and Deep Learning lead at Google DeepMind and Gemini co-lead Oriol Vinyals, let us first examine the pre-training. Despite all the noise that scaling is over, Google proved the opposite. The leap from Gemini 2.5 to Gemini 3 is one of the biggest jumps the DeepMind team has ever delivered. No walls, no slowdown, just raw capability gains. On the post-training front, still a wide open frontier. Google's team squeezed massive improvements here too. New algorithms, better alignment, smarter tuning. That's where a huge chunk of Gemini 3's sharpness actually comes from. And then Demis Hassabis summed it all up in one line. The real secret is world-class research and world-class engineering and world-class infrastructure, all working together with relentless focus and intensity. End quote. That explains why even Sam Altman, in a leaked internal memo, said Google has been doing excellent work recently in every aspect. And if that wasn't enough, even Somit Chintala, the creator of PyTorch, who recently joined Meera Murati's Thinking Machines, said something nobody expected. He said that the Gemini 3 moment feels closer to GPT-4 than anything in recent times. OpenAI around GPT-4 looked invulnerable, and Google looks invulnerable now with Gemini 3, which is TPUs plus Android plus Chrome. But the game isn't over. Anthropic quietly dominates code, and lived experiences will determine the end game. So, what's really happening? Let's find out the part that no one is actually saying. So, before Gemini 3 even entered the chat, Google was already gaining ground. Similar web data shows Google generative AI traffic share jumped from 5% to 14% in just 12 months before the Gemini 3 launch. A threefold surge powered purely by distribution, search integration, and early Gemini models. Now, coming back to how it works. Gemini 3 works end-to-end on Google's TPUs, and this is the real plot twist. While OpenAI runs on NVIDIA GPUs and leases compute, Google is training, serving, and scaling Gemini on its own TPU stack. Ironwood, V5E, V4, all in-house. It's the first time a frontier model is beating competitors without NVIDIA. So, what if Google starts selling TPUs widely and drops prices? The NVIDIA era cracks. The price war begins. Compute becomes a commodity. This is most likely why Buffett dropped $4.3 billion into Alphabet, a bet on Google's vertically integrated AI stack, which is not a random portfolio play. Google controls the full funnel, and this is the scary part for competitors. Research to chips to cloud to search to Android to YouTube to Gemini to Chrome, which is one company, one distribution, billions of users. OpenAI, on the other hand, it has ChatGPT, the world's most beloved chatbot, but relies on Microsoft for chips, data centers, cloud revenue surface, distribution. Google, as we know, has none of these dependencies. And with Gemini 3 inside search AI mode on day one, Google flipped the switch on its biggest weapon, India, which is the first mass market Gemini 3 country. While the United States pays for frontier models, Jio is giving Gemini 3 Pro access to millions of Indians at zero extra cost, thanks to the Google plus Jio 18-month AI Pro partnership. So, in simple words, America gets Gemini 3 as a premium. India gets it as a feature. This is why usage is exploding here. Not because Gemini is perfect. It still hallucinates, still breaks physics, still messes up details. People are switching because its faster TPU optimizations equals low latency. It's cheaper or free. Google can undercut every competitor. So it's everywhere instantly. Search, Android, Chrome, Geo, YouTube. It feels more agentic tool use, browser control, code execution, and better reliability. And yes, some prompts genuinely perform better research depth, multimodal reasoning, long context. So the question is, does it destroy GPT? Not universally, but for many mainstream users, it feels like the first model that actually challenges ChatGPT's dominance. Paras Chopra summed it best. Google has a massive opportunity to eat NVIDIA's lunch, train on TPUs, cut cloud prices, push JAX, and the game changes. End quote. If Gemini proves that top-tier AI can run without NVIDIA, the entire industry shifts. And that's the strategic earthquake under all of this noise. So, we have reached that point now, which is the front page take. People aren't ditching ChatGPT because Google made a better demonstration. They're switching because Google finally activated its full stack advantage. Own the chips, own the cloud, own the model, own the apps, own the users, own the distribution. ChatGPT still dominates cultural mindshare, but Gemini now dominates infrastructure control. And we are watching it happen in real time. So we would like you to please let us know if you have switched or are you staying with ChatGPT? So only a few days ago, OpenAI just made its most important move since ChatGPT launched. Because after Google stunned the world with Gemini 3, and after Sam Altman himself admitted internally that Google has been doing excellent work recently in every aspect, end quote. OpenAI finally did the one thing it had to do: start cutting its dependency on NVIDIA and rebuild American AI hardware from the ground up. On front page, we recently broke down how Google suddenly pulled ahead by doing what OpenAI cannot: train frontier models end to end on its own TPUs, deploy instantly to search, YouTube, Android, and scale globally without waiting for GPU shipments. Google has the full stack. OpenAI has Microsoft's cloud and rented compute. And the Gemini 3 shockwave made that gap painfully visible. And what's visible as well is your support for Front Page. We believe this show helps you make sense of the world. So, like it, share it, and subscribe. It's actually the simplest way to stay ahead of the curve. Now, back to the recent announcement, which was inevitable. OpenAI has partnered with Honhai Technology Group, Foxconn, the world's largest server manufacturer, to co-design multiple generations of AI data center hardware that will be manufactured inside the United States. This is OpenAI changing the rules of the game. What the partnership includes: co-designing next-gen AI racks. OpenAI gives Foxconn its frontier model roadmap. Foxconn turns that into hardware, multiple generations built in parallel to keep pace with GPT-X scale models, consequently reindustrializing the American AI supply chain. The two will broaden domestic sourcing, redesign rack architecture for United States manufacturing, and expand local testing and assembly. This is exactly what Google already did with TPUs, but OpenAI is starting late and sprinting. Foxconn to manufacture critical AI infrastructure directly in the United States, cabling, networking systems, cooling systems, power systems, data center components at scale. Foxconn chairman Young Liu said it bluntly: as the world's largest manufacturer of AI data servers, we are uniquely positioned to support OpenAI, end quote. OpenAI gets early access to every system, no purchase commitments yet, but OpenAI can buy, test, optimize, and integrate everything before anyone else. So as we can see, this is how you build an AI stack when your rivals have already built theirs. The timing isn't a coincidence, because just weeks ago, OpenAI partnered with Broadcom to design 10 gigawatts of custom AI accelerators, their own chips, network entirely over Broadcom Ethernet, with deployments from 2026 to 2029. And recently, internal memos leaked where Sam Altman admitted Google has been doing excellent work recently in every aspect. This will create temporary economic headwinds for our company, end quote. So in simple words, OpenAI sees Google's TPU dominance, NVIDIA shortages, and Gemini 3's performance leap and is racing to build its own hardware independence. Google already did this in secret for a decade. OpenAI is doing it now in public because the time is up. Even before Foxconn, even before Broadcom reports from the information confirmed that OpenAI quietly started using Google's TPUs to run ChatGPT inference. Yes, the same Google that just beat them with Gemini 3. So, according to sources involved in the arrangement, this is OpenAI's first meaningful use of non NVIDIA chips rented through Google Cloud to reduce inference costs. But here's the catch, as there always is. Google is not giving OpenAI its most powerful ironwood TPUs. They're actually renting older generations while keeping the cutting edge hardware for Gemini. This move shows two things very clearly. OpenAI is diversifying compute because NVIDIA is too costly and too short in supply. Google's vertical integration is so strong that even its biggest rival is now a TPU customer. OpenAI still trains models on NVIDIA, but now splits inference across Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, which is the TPUs, Oracle Core Weave. And this is why OpenAI is racing to build its own hardware stack with Foxconn and Broadcom. Because relying on Google for chips while competing with Google for AGI is not a sustainable future. Now, from a geopolitical standpoint, this is America declaring that AI infrastructure cannot be outsourced anymore. Sam Altman said it openly. The infrastructure behind advanced AI is a generational opportunity to reindustrialize America, end quote. And Foxconn, it's bringing the world's largest AI server expertise onshore, reversing a 30-year trend of tech manufacturing drifting abroad. So it's actually rare to see such aligned incentives. OpenAI wants chips and racks faster. Foxconn wants strategic US presence. The United States wants AI supply chains on home soil. Doesn't it look like that this is the beginning of an AI era chips act? Because the next frontier of AI is not model quality, it's compute sovereignty. So, Google has TPUs plus Google Cloud plus search plus Android plus YouTube plus Geo, a full stack empire. OpenAI has fantastic models, but a rented stack, and that cannot continue. So, with Broadcom plus Foxconn, OpenAI is signaling a shift from AI as a service to AI as a manufacturing industry. And this gives OpenAI three strategic advantages: hardware tuned to GPT models, freedom from GPU shortages, a domestic supply chain the United States government will heavily back. So, this is about being ready for GPT-6 and GPT-7 tomorrow. So, as far as the front page take goes, here it is. If last week was Google flexing its full stack power, tonight is OpenAI saying, "We heard you, we felt the heat, and now we're building our own stack too." Google has the lead, OpenAI has the urgency, and NVIDIA, ironically, might be the biggest loser if this ecosystem keeps shifting toward custom accelerators and TPU-like paths. The AI race is no longer about the smartest model. It's actually about who controls the factories, the chips, the cooling systems, the power grid, and the servers that make those models possible. This is the next phase of AI, and OpenAI has just entered it. Please let us know below what is it that you think about this. Is this too late, or is OpenAI finally building the foundation it always needed? Tonight's big story: two of India's IT giants, TCS and Wipro, are facing fresh patent infringement lawsuits in the United States. It is the third major IP case against an Indian IT firm in just 45 days. Good evening. and welcome to Front Page by AIM Network, India's video first definitive window into what's changing in tech before it hits the front page anywhere else. So if you're watching, like, share, and subscribe because here you don't just follow the news, you get it first. And if you're all set, let's break down what happened to Wipro and TCS, why it matters, and what it signals for India's IT and cloud services industry. Filed on 28th of October, the lawsuit alleges that TCS used and sold software containing patented technology that automatically changes the identity and location of cloud applications, a technique used in Kubernetes-style cloud orchestration. Calibrate says TCS not only deployed this technology but also continued using it even after being served a complaint, inducing its customers to do the same. This comes when TCS is already under pressure. Just last week, a United States appeals court upheld a $194 million penalty in the CSC/DXC trade secrets case. TCS has officially acknowledged this in a filing to exchanges, stating the ruling is adverse, the injunction is vacated, and the company is evaluating legal options. On 18th of November, Florida-based Mobility Works sued Wipro for allegedly infringing 3 telecom patents, including technology that ensures your phone stays connected to cell towers as you move from one city to another. Mobility alleges that Wipro sold wireless testing services using patented methods, enabled customers to access cellular networks using its patented technology, knew of the infringement before the lawsuit. This mirrors the TCS case. The plaintiff claims Wipro continued using the technology even after being informed. So, before these two lawsuits, Hexaware was hit with a $500 million patent suit. Natsoft Corporation accused Hexaware of copying 9 patents related to application modernization, one of the biggest patent claims ever filed against an Indian IT firm. Hexaware has denied all allegations. 3 major US lawsuits in 2 months. So why is this happening now? Indian IT firms spent 2 decades as services powerhouses. Now they're building modernization platforms, cloud orchestration frameworks, network automation tools, AI-led transformation platforms. In short, they're moving deeper into product territory, where the patent minefield is brutal. Analysts and industry experts say that Indian IT firms are currently operating in higher value, higher IP zones, where disputes are more common, and global patent holders are watching closely, and they're willing to fight in court. So, even if financial penalties can be absorbed, the real risk is deal confidence. Large US clients ask, are we safe from litigation spillover? Is the IP clean? Can we scale without legal noise? Any legal cloud over IP can slow down deal cycles, especially in AI, networking, and cloud transformation projects where patents define the boundaries. And let us not forget, TCS and Wipro are already navigating slowing growth. The first half of fiscal year 26 saw revenue declines for both. Although Indian IT has seen this before, TCS versus Epic Systems, which was a $140 million penalty. HCL Tech versus Atos, which was a $132 million IP dispute. Infosys versus Cognizant, which is Trizetto, multi-year legal battle over healthcare platform IP. But the recent acceleration, 3 lawsuits in 45 days, is definitely the red flag. This is happening precisely when IT companies are aggressively building AI platforms, cloud modernization engines, 5G testing frameworks, automation accelerators, all areas where United States patents are dense. And now, of course, it's time for the front page take. This is a sector-wide warning shot, and not just about TCS and Wipro. As Indian IT enters the era of AI native platforms, cloud orchestration tools, and telecom automation, the industry is moving from services to software product territory, where every line of code is a legal mine. And in this world, patents decide market power, infringement claims decide deal momentum, IP culture decides long term survival. And tonight's lawsuits tell us one thing: the next decade of Indian IT will be fought not just in boardrooms, but in courtrooms. So please do let us know what you think. Are these growing pains on the path to becoming true product first global technology firms? Or is the industry not ready for the patent heavy world it's trying to enter? Tonight, we're decoding a fight that could shape India's 5G, 6G, and Wi Fi future for the next 20 years. If it is Apple, Amazon, Meta, Cisco, HP, and Intel versus Reliance Jio and Vodafone Idea. Yes, United States tech giants versus India's telecom giants. And the battleground is a strip of invisible real estate, the 6 gigahertz spectrum. Good evening and welcome to Front Page by AIM Network, where India gets the tech news that matters first and unfiltered. So if you're with us, hit like, share it ahead, and subscribe, because in a world moving this fast, being early is everything. As promised, here is the breaking story. 6 of America's biggest tech companies, including Apple, Amazon, Meta, Intel, Cisco, and HP, have jointly filed a response to TRAI telling India, do not give 6 gigahertz to telecom operators. Give it all to Wi-Fi. They're actually saying the 6 gigahertz band is not technically or commercially ready for mobile use, meaning not ready for 5G and certainly not ready for 6G. Meanwhile, Jio wants the entire 12 megahertz for mobile. V wants at least the 400 megahertz available right now. And Airtel, it wants the auction delayed until the world reaches consensus. This is the first time in years that 3 massive forces, US tech, Indian telcos, and global regulators, are locked in a direct 3-way confrontation. Because 6 gigahertz is the oxygen line for next generation Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi 6E and Wi-Fi 7 depend heavily on it. So without this band, laptops, phones, AR headsets, home routers, everything slows down. That's why Meta, Apple, and Amazon, companies whose hardwares rely on Wi-Fi, want the whole band protected. They even told TRAI any unused portion of upper 6 gigahertz must be opened for unlicensed Wi-Fi, end quote. In simple words, don't give telcos an inch. If they don't use it, we will. COAI, which represents Jio, Airtel, and V, fired back very aggressively. Their warning was blunt, and here it is. Delicensing even part of a 6 gigahertz is irreversible. It will cripple India's 5G and 6G capacity, end quote. Now, COAI argues licensed spectrum equals guaranteed quality Wi-Fi equals interference, unpredictable performance. Giving the band away kills future 6G networks. The government will lose massive revenue. Big tech will gain free spectrum for free services. This last point is important. Global tech companies want free spectrum to run free services without paying the government. Telcos pay billions for spectrum. Big tech pays zero. Countries like China, Brazil, and the European Union are considering allocating all 700 megahertz of the upper 6 gigahertz band for 6G mobile use, which is why Qualcomm, yes, a US company, surprisingly agrees with Airtel. Do not auction 6 gigahertz yet. Wait until WRC 27. India must protect its 6G future. End quote. This means even United States chip makers aren't aligned with US tech giants. India has already decided 500 megahertz, which is lower 6 gigahertz, equals to D-license for Wi-Fi 400 megahertz, leads to immediately auctionable 300 megahertz, leads to available by 2030. But now that Apple, Amazon, and Meta have jumped in, this is policy pressure from Silicon Valley on India's telecom future. This fight decides who controls India's wireless future: telcos through 5G/6G or big tech through Wi-Fi native devices. So how India's digital economy evolves: spectrum sold is equal to revenue for government. Spectrum given free is equal to cheaper Wi-Fi, but lost revenue. India's ambition to lead 6G globally, upper 6 gigahertz, is central to 6G in most global roadmaps. One wrong move sets India back a decade. So in conclusion, the front page take: this is clearly a power struggle. On one side, India's telcos arguing that giving away 6 gigahertz will destroy Digital Bharat's backbone. On the other side, US tech giants who want free spectrum to boost their ecosystems. And in the middle of all of this, India's 6G ambitions, which cannot afford confusion. So the question now is quite simple. Should India reserve 6 gigahertz for Wi-Fi to power devices, or should India reserve it for 6G to power the nation? A decision that impacts the cost of internet, the performance of networks, the success of Make in India, and the balance of power between telcos and big tech. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Front Page by AIM Network. Like, share, and subscribe, as we always say, and always remember, think AI, think AIM.